Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Coming to you almost live from the Herdstone in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, it's the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 124. It is February 27th, and I'm your host, Bill. Wow, suddenly I'm afraid of goats. Costello, and with me today,
all the way from the primordial squat rack, it's Joshua Bulgor Booty Alt.
I think we're foreshadowing the episode.
Yeah. We were talking a lot about the inappropriate feelings that people will get when they look at all the Bulgor butts around.
I know, and there's going to be more.
Yeah.
Because today, folks, we're going to talk about the Beast of Chaos drop in White Dwarf. The, what do they call those things?
Tome Celestial?
Yes, Tome Celestials. That's what they call those. And it's a... I thought the OBR was an impactful change. I think this is the most impactful change we've seen in a White Dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
As of yet.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about our New Year, New Armies. And then we're going to briefly touch on, because we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. In the lore section, we're going to start talking about expanding on those pillars of the hobby. And we figured we would roll lore and collecting into one show. The other shows the other pillars will probably get their own show, the painting, the playing, the socializing. And for the socializing episode, I think we're going to sort of not just talk about finding and getting groups and getting into that sort of stuff, but we're also going to maybe hopefully deal with some of the mental health issues and what have you.
Yeah.
So that'll be its own show. And so we're going to, like I said, we're going to take these deep dives, while we don't have battle tomes to talk about. We'll use this as, something to build on and something to get discussions going. But, hey, we're a week late.
We are.
Freaking life.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, I was preparing for a trial that was supposed to go this last week, and then actually it's going to go next week, but I'm so prepared for this trial, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But I needed to spend some extra time working on that.
Yep.
So that was waylaid me.
Yeah, and I wasn't feeling real well. Pam and I were both getting over colds at the same time, and you know how sometimes you just don't feel like doing anything. I mean, that's where we were.
I know that feel all too well.
Yeah, it was ick. So apologize for that. We did say, however, on the last show that we were going to give away some books, and we were going to give those to Patreon members. And guess what?
What?
We did it.
Oh.
So we have drawn names, and I will contact you folks via your emails, or if I have your other information, I will use that from the Patreon list. But we got Opie and John J. You are the winners.
Congratulations.
Yes, and thank you for your Patreonage. We really appreciate it. It really does help keep the lights on because, the server prices are going up. The prices for just hosting a podcast are going up. And, we have to get new mics now and then. And, of course, this box itself was, there's costs involved. So,
yeah, and so, if Bill and I had been better prepared, we would have some screaming goats to celebrate you getting picked out of the hat. But imagine that there are goats screaming in your favor at this point.
That's right.
Thanks, Opie. Thanks, Sean J.
A herd. Also want to send a quick shout out to, and this is just a little weird, but to our listeners in the Ukraine. And yes, we have some. Hope you guys are doing all right. And obviously hope this situation resolves itself favorably for you. We are thinking about you and we're hoping for you. Birthdays. Guess what?
What?
John Waters' birthday today.
It is.
It's our guy at our local guy at the store. His birthday is today. I hope he's celebrating well because he deserves it. But also, Dave Witek, the Podfather, Garage Hammer himself, is older today than he was yesterday. So, happy birthday, Dave.
Happy birthday, John. Happy birthday, Dave.
Yeah. And, we used to do this a lot, and we haven't had the ability to do it recently, but we got events to talk about. Holy crap. And I mean, not just one. It's awesome.
Yeah, imagine us finally climbing out of, the hell that was quarantine for over a year. Finally get to look at and see folks starting to bring things back together.
Yeah.
So as we're looking at here, we've got the Atomic City Blast, Warhage.
All right, Recknit.
Hold on, let me Recknit myself. Warhammer Age of Sigmar event. It's a 2,000 point 3-round tournament in White Rock, New Mexico.
Yay.
At White Rock Toys and Games. So if you all are local and listening and you want to take part in this event, the address is 108 Longview Drive in White Rock, New Mexico. I imagine you probably have a smartphone or something of the sort, so if you need to get turn-by-turn directions, pull that up.
Yep.
It will be ITC, and it's...
I believe that's in August, right?
This is August 6th of 2022. So we have got the flyer here. It says there's gaming, dice, fun, and prizes. It doesn't say you have to only pick one of them, so make sure that you do have fun while you're there.
Yes.
Right? And that's August, so make sure someone at least is repping Beasts of Chaos, please.
Damn straight. Oh, I bet you they will be. More than one, probably. In the also semi-local flavor, our buddy Ryan Taylor is running an event up in Durango. This one's a little closer. This one is actually, what did I have for the date? March 13th. And it's up there in Durango, Colorado at Guildhouse Games, 835 Main Avenue. It's a 1,000 point Warhammer Age of Sigmar event. So if you need more deets, get with RT Gamer on Twitter or Ryan Taylor on our Discord, who's also RT Gamer. And he'll give you all the details that you need. In the slightly bigger event category, our buddy Scott Reed, the TO for the Las Vegas Open, is also doing the Broadside Bash. That's going to be in May 6th through 8th at the Sheraton San Diego Hotel and Marina. So San Diego, go there. It's better than where you're at, unless you're in San Diego.
God.
Broadside Bash is a really big, Frontline Gaming event.
Yeah.
I forgot. I think this is an anniversary year. I don't want to quote that, but Scott's going to be running the AOS stuff, so you know it's going to be good. It's going to be well run. The tables are going to be awesome. And, Scott got nothing but kudos for his presentation for the LVO.
Oh, yeah.
AOS event. So the man knows how to run an event. He's good. And hell, it's Broadside Bash. Your hotel is literally blocks from the ocean. You can walk to it. It's San Diego. It's, like I said, it's better than where you're at, I bet.
Yeah, what's the old saying? San Diego. It's Spanish for, oh, wait.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, I want to throw a shout out to Basement Wargamers. Summer Slaughter 2022, July 23rd and 24th. That is going to be at St. Gabe's Lodge. I believe it's sold out. As far as I can see, the event is sold out. So all you can do is get onto a wait list. So that's in Stowe, Pennsylvania. So if you're up in that Northeast area, or, if you know the Basement Wargamer guys, get with them, jump on. You can go to summerslaughtergt.com to get all the details.
Mm-hmm.
But as part of this, Sean and the Basement Wargamers are trying to bring Rob Symes, Rufio, the Honest Wargamer, over to cover the event. So he has a GoFundMe set up. So if you go to GoFundMe and search for Summer Slaughter, you'll see it. And it's a GoFundMe to try to help, pay for Rob and his crew, because, Rob needs stuff. They have to bring cameras. They have to bring all this other good stuff. So to get them over there, they need some money. So they're doing a GoFundMe. So if you have, if you like Rob, you like the Honest Wargamer, Rob is one of the coolest people in the world. I mean, I'm sorry, you can think what you want, but Rob is a great guy. And bringing him and his crew over would be awesomely cool for the Basement Wargamers. And so if you got a couple of bucks and you want to support an event and support the worldwide streaming of events like this, drop them a couple of bucks. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to, because I'm actually a slacker. But don't worry, Sean, I will drop some money in there. So yeah, that's events. That's we have 2 local events and 2 worldwide events, or countrywide events at least.
Yeah.
So we're getting back on track. If I may hazard a comment, screw you, COVID. So
I don't think that would be terribly controversial.
I don't think so. I think I'll get some support for that one.
Yeah. I mean, well, frankly, that's got to be one of the biggest intros we've had in a while.
I know it's a few apologies here and there, some worldwide stuff, and events. It's just so nice to be getting emailed events and details for events that are going on now, and to see the train get back on the track and see both local events as well as these big events going on again is so refreshing. The horrible depression I had from missing LVO is starting to pass, but man, Nova tickets go up on sale the 2nd of April. So I cannot wait. The narrative event up there that's run by Jervale. It's such an amazing event out there. It's worth flying out to DC to just for that. So, but the idea of being able to see everybody again, I don't ever go to Adepticon. I just went to Adepticon once. It was amazing, yes, but it really was not what I was looking for.
Okay.
So I don't know why. It's a great event. Everybody goes. I just don't, I think at the time when I went, I didn't know anyone and I was by myself and it was a weird scene. So, I should probably go now again and give it another try. But I do love Nova. It's my chance to catch up with Aaron and Matt and all the guys out there, and just so much fun. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Well, sounds like you got a lot of things we can talk about in the socializing pillar episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, shall we move on to New Dawn, which is going to be really short?
Yeah, really short until we get our 11 o'clock interruption. So, as far as it goes, there's nothing on pre-order right now for AOS. I mean, the Tome of Champions 2021 for Warcry just recently came out.
Yay.
Of course, we got the White Dwarf update for Beasts.
Oh, my God.
But as far as it goes, until those new battle tomes come out, that they've laid the path for us. Until they come out, it's kind of a holding pattern, at least at the moment. We got like little things sprinkled here and there. I think what Alopexes can be battle line now or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's some hints and stuff that are coming out with IDK and Fire Slayers that are starting to get people a little excited, but
a little bit of buzz going, yeah.
But right now it is Eldar Land.
Oh boy, isn't it?
The pre-orders for that were yesterday. Stuff releases next week. And so all of the folks who love and adore space elves who have been otherwise hiding in a hole are now coming back out and, starting. This has reinvigorated Troy, for example.
Oh, yeah, in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, other than, and to plug, Praying Mantis Studios now on Twitch.
Yes.
Our friend Troy Bishop is streaming regularly. He just made affiliate. So he's got some exciting things on the way. You have a new graphic coming up for him, too.
Nice.
So free plug for Troy.
Troy's a really good painter. You'll get knowledge put into your head.
Yeah.
So
I was with New Army New Year. I was looking at some of his stuff that he had put in. He brought 20 zombies. I think 3 Vargeist, 3 of the Fellbats, and he used the guy from the Crimson Court as a vampire lord.
Yeah.
And he painted this like beautiful white armor on him that is I just stare at it. It's amazing. But even his zombies, the amount of detail and layers and edge highlighting he's done, it's fantastic. This guy knows what he's doing. Take a look.
Praying Mantis Studios.
But he's an Eldar fanboy to no end. For him, it's Death and Eldar.
Yes.
Right? Those are the 2 things he embraces, which kind of fits because, God of Death and Eldar. But, anyway. So he's getting stoked. He actually pre-ordered something for the first time since I've known him.
In a long time.
Yeah. He's just, I want to make sure I get 2 packs of dice. So he pre-ordered his dice.
That reminds me, I got to find the dice for him because he's missing one set of the old, when they had the old Aspect Warrior dice.
Yeah.
And now he's missing a set, so I got to find him for him. So
yeah, he's so big into it. He's got a ton of models, and if you go to Praying Mantis Studios, you'll see it. He's on Instagram too. all the people who like are want to playing Eldar are starting to come out. And to be frank, after the Hammer and Bolter with the Eldar, it was just so good. It drove that to me. And I had Eldar from when I was doing Kill Team, like Kill Team 1.0, right? And so I was trying to make sure I had like a little bit of everything so that if anyone wanted to play a particular, faction in Kill Team, I could be like, all right, here, you can pick from these Dire Avengers, you can pick from these Guardians. I've got a Farseer, like that kind of stuff. And after that, I was like, oh, I'm going to paint. And I'm going to paint Yandon because I'm going to figure out yellow.
Okay.
And it's been a fun journey. Stuff is already up on Instagram. That's my New Army New Year.
Yep.
Eldar is blowing up. You got the Aned all split up now, so it's not just one purchase. And
the Triumvirate box is now in 3 separate, thank God.
Yeah. But also it used to be like $70.
Yeah.
And now the Incarn himself is $50.
Yeah.
So yeah, the prices have gone up a little bit. But it already look interesting. From the little stuff I was seeing, it's more of a way to bring in, if you want to bring in your Harleys, Drukhari, and Eldar and do that real fusion army, right? That's really going to be the way to get it done. Well, that stuff was up for pre-order.
The new Moggan Ra.
He looks so good.
Yeah, he's I had to order that. So just, to see Eldar getting refreshed, and what I know there's a little undercurrent there of how come we didn't get new X or resculpted Y.
Yeah.
Well, I think the line does hold up. It's a very, very utilitarian line.
Yeah.
All the models look good, except for, some, but those were replaced a while back. I just, to me, the bikes still look good.
Oh, yeah.
The newer bikes look amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think the ones that are having a hard time holding up are the old heroes, in particular, Baharoth,
the old
Hugin,
Avatar.
Fuegon, however you pronounce it. Old Avatar, but new Avatar. It looks so pretty.
Good.
Yeah. I just want it for a painting challenge. That thing is way too pretty. Yeah.
It's simply gorgeous. So yeah, it's really nice to see Eldar getting the treatment, as it were. And I can't I'm not even going to talk about Chaos Space Marines, so yay Chaos.
Yeah,
So.
I can't wait to see what they do for those updates. But I know they talked about in that Eldar article. Looks like Tyranids are up next.
I think so, and to me, that's nothing but good because I got a crap ton of Tyranids. So,
As one does.
well, that's what the wife wanted to play in 40K. So she did a crazy kind of paint scheme on them for the Beetle Carapace kind of look with the pearlescence and all that stuff, and she kills me.
Yeah, we both bear the burden of having wives that paint far better than we do.
Yeah, we struggle along. I'm sitting there throwing contrast at stuff, hoping it sticks. And she's over there just like, oh, look at this piece of art I just made. Oh, get out of here. Get in the kitchen and make me some breakfast. So, yeah, that's kind of it. When we get to battle, we're going to cover the Warcry Tome of Champions. And I've got some stickies highlighting the really big changes for Warcry.
Yeah.
Just to foreshadow, got some games of Warcry in last couple of weeks, and it's really rekindled my love for that game.
Great.
I'd forgotten how much I really enjoyed playing it, and how super approachable it is. Because the 2 games I played with my wife, and it was still fun. I did
awesome.
have to re-rack one. Well, we'll get to that in battle. So that's not a new Dawn thing. Again, we've got that. It's about 10 minutes before it drops.
Yeah, I'm already starting to get ready to load it up.
I hear you.
So we'll probably get through creation and then have to cycle back.
Yeah.
Because creation doesn't tend to take too long. But we got to talk about our new army efforts that we did.
Yes, and I want to go first.
I want you to go first, Bill.
Okay, countless blind bag challenges, all of these other things at the store, where you buy the blind bag stuff and you have X amount of time to do it. I've seen New Year, New Army come and go several times, and I've always been like, yeah, I'm going to do that because, damn it, I want to do that. and I've never ever followed through and actually finish. First time I got my OC Bone Reapers New Year, New Army at the store, delivered before the deadline. I am like so jazzed with myself for
That's awesome.
actually getting it done for once.
That's so awesome, Bill.
Yeah, I just, wow, felt so good to actually be done. And I did the 5 Murder Ponies, the 10 Mortek Guard, and Ark Kavalos Reknit. So, yeah, I am.
Reknit's going to wreck it.
Reknit is going to wreck face. So, yeah, got that done. Also, if you look at the wall behind you over there, or sort of on the side, I changed up my entire paint thing. I went from those cheap, horrible little metal racks to these really nice plastic racks, and I put all the different, the art from the different, collector boxes,
Yeah.
and then different calendar photos. I put that all behind it to hide the wall that looked like, oh my God, there's so many holes in that wall. So rather than, do it right and patching the holes, and yeah. And part and parcel of that is, like every other paint rack in the world, you have to have special ones for GW paints because their pots are stupid. I'm sorry.
Save for after dark, Bill.
I'm not bitter. So I did move a ton of paints that I use quite a bit. Most of the layers that I use a lot, I put into dropper bottles. So I'm really jazzed with the new paint rack setup.
Yeah. Where our little hobby table is upstairs, for when we're painting upstairs, we have those same racks.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah, they work so well.
They are. They're
Nice
so
clear
good.
plastic, and they're just the right size kind of for the Citadel pots. But then again, they just take up so much space, so if you do convert to the droppers like Bill has, it shrinks the amount of real estate that each individual paint takes up.
Yes, by gobs. Yeah, the amount is just crazy. And of course, in doing all of this, I ended up opening up so many paints that, I had taken all the precautions. I had rimmed the top of the bottles with Vaseline so that no air could get in there, and all this other, and they were still drying out. We live in a desert.
Yeah.
And I'm not kicking on the paint. I'm not really kicking on the bottles that much, although I am. We live in a desert. You open up a bottle of paint, you can pretty much set a timer that in a couple of months it's going to start drying out unless you're really on top of it and mixing it and putting a little Lamy and medium in it now and then to keep it fresh. So it's part of the price of living in the desert. So I can't blame them too much, although I do. So yeah, up on my new plans going forward now are, of course, next up, got to do some Crisis Protocol stuff, and then Smog.
Oh yeah.
Smog gets the treatment. So, because he's going to be my Hobbit bingo or Lord of the Rings bingo entry, and I'm just going to set him on top, and that he's going to cover all the boxes. He's an army. He's a monster. He's a hero. He's a this. He's a that. Okay. So yeah, Smog, go.
Oh, sorry. I have to quote Gimli. It still only counts as one, Bill.
That's not fair. He's so big. Okay, anyway. That is so not fair.
So what paint scheme did you go with on your guys? I haven't actually seen them yet, other than the far away picture you took of them.
So yeah, I'm doing the sort of the crematorian idea, the blackened bone. Mm-hmm. So all of the bodies are black. They're the contrast black. And then the bony part of the shield is, of course, black. The highlights for everything, the armor and what have you, is Talasar blue. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I use red gems everywhere for highlights and what have you. Their cloth is either going to be burnt red or burnt orange. So, it stands out a little bit and you can see them. Then of course, gold for all the weird stuff. Any Nadirite weapons are Achillean green.
Okay.
Because it gives it that really kind of neat look. I like the look. So, it's a reasonably simple paint scheme. The horses are actually skeleton horde. Mm-hmm. But what I did was toward the feet and toward the snout and the face and the ends of the tail and all that stuff, I used some very thin down black.
Okay.
To sort of give that idea that they're becoming I figured the horses would be brought up as needed rather than the guys who are being formed by the Soul Masons.
Yeah.
The horses are just going to be reanimated from whatever they can find. So it's going to take them a while to go fully black and to become that look. So they're only starting to get black. But then I did the whole thing. And I have this thing about my death armies. Wherever you see death, it's cold. And they bring the cold of winter death with them. So I did all of the bases. I did the Darcy Bono winter bases.
Okay.
So I really love her style. I really love her approach. And so I pretty much copied her directly, except I did an overwash of it with the Army Painter blue tone thinned down quite a bit because I didn't want that white popping out from the bottom. I thought that was too stark.
Yeah.
So I put a little bit of that on there. And then, of course, snow and bones, because that's what they're after. They're after bones. So there's skulls and bones and bones. And what's weird was I painted up all the bones in Ushabti bone, and I was getting ready to start hitting them with the wash. And I'm thinking to myself, these are in the frozen wastes. They're not going to get that aged look from baking in the sun.
Correct.
They're going to stay bright. So I was like, all right, don't wash them. Just put them on the base. It's going to be hard, but do it. So I did it. And I think it looks all right. So I still have a little bit of work to do on the bases, but the army is at the store because it's on display for the next week.
Yeah.
So, when I get them back, I'll finish up
That's great.
the details. So anyway, on to you, Sal.
So I said earlier, I did the new army with the Yandin. I had a Farseer, 10 Guardians, a Wraith Lord, and a unit of Wraith Guard. Called my entry Mother and Son.
I was going to say, what are you getting?
Because that's the joke. You just killed someone's mother when you destroy a Wraith Lord. But it was really fun. The Wraith Lords, there were a couple times where I got them in like a blind bag entry, and I was just like, I don't have the time or the patience to hack this thing up to get it to do what I wanted to do, right? So I would do something else. But so I had this Wraith Lord, and I'm like, is there any way I can pose it as is so I can get something that looks pretty cool, but also I can paint before New Year? So, and you'll be able to see it. I posted on the Discord and on my Instagram, but it's sort of like, it's got its right arm with the sword curving around to the left side. It's looking to the right, and then the the sun cannon or whatever their las cannon is on the right shoulder is aimed down where the face is looking like it's blasting whatever's right there. I didn't build it so it has like the shuriken or the flamethrowers on it because I was like, I'll say what it has on it whenever I like make my list. I just want it to look super cool. So then it's got like the rocket launcher on its left shoulder. It's got the scatter laser on its left arm.
Nice.
And it was a pretty fun build, but it was definitely a lot of hybrid techniques, and like the amount of layers I went up on these is a lot more than I've done in the past.
It's to get a good yellow. It's not like just slap it down and hope. So
no. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but
well, isn't that what we all do?
Right. So I worked from the contrast base of Yandin yellow, right, and then I would sort of soften it back down with flash gits, right?
Okay.
On some of the places that were like just a little too orange or something. So I'd do that. And then I would go to the phalanx yellow and make sure that I got, a really efficient dry brush slash layer on it. And then I would do Dorn yellow just sort of from like the top down type of situation. And then the blue I worked up 4 layers, I think, 5. Because it would start with Macragge, Drakenhof, then Altdorf, then Calgar, then Calgar mixed with Ulthuan. And I would do that for the head, and then for the, the cloth piece they have?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked all that stuff. I didn't use any gold. I used Sycorax bronze because I really like how it reacts to whatever color you put it over. And so like over the yellows, right, it definitely looks like a bright gold.
It pops a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then when you put it over like the Black Templar, right, it has like a richer, darker tone to it.
Yep.
That it emphasizes slightly more silver. And so it just sort of like, I don't know, acclimates to whatever I'm putting it over, which was like so nice to work with. So,
yeah, and I don't, it's just my personal feeling. I don't see a lot of use for bright gold on Eldar.
Yeah.
because they're such an ancient wraith.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rich golds, the older golds, are so much more appropriate.
Yeah, I can agree there. Some of the fun with this army was really trying to see the interactions between yellow and blue for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much, yellow do I want to have versus how much blue. And so since I'm doing primarily yellow, I couldn't do like too many crazy offshoot colors on the actual model. So my bases are where I started to play with it a little bit more.
Cool.
So like on the Wraith Guard, for example, I painted what might look kind of like a stream, but it's like I used a lot of wet blending techniques between like Phoenician Purple to Cacophony to Emperor's Children to, oh God, I ended up using the dry brush paint for it. What is it called? Like Changeling Pink or whatever. Yeah. So I would like wet blend between those three and then go over it with thin down Magos Purple with contrast medium. And then, stipple dry brush with Ulthuan Gray over it.
Oh, damn.
And then I go over it with Art Coat.
Yeah.
So it has like this like gleamy sheen to it. And then I had white sand that I got from Michaels.
Okay.
Right. And so, PVA glue, put that stuff on. And then I would go over the sand with Art Coat as well.
Okay.
Right. Trying to get this like truly kind of alien look to it.
Yeah.
And then for the Wraith Lord, because it comes with a pre-sculpted base.
Yep.
Right. I for that one and for my Farseer, because that one's also like on a sculpted base, is that I painted, like a purple and pink stone.
No, I'm
Right.
shocked. You?
Yeah.
Purple, pink, what?
Right. And it was great because it actually like, in terms of like the model standing above it stands out, but then those stand out
Yeah.
in their own right, and like I don't think they're taken from each other.
And there's a sharp contrast between them. So
Yep. And oh boy, my first time ever trying it with a non-blue power sword.
Oh God, yeah.
The giant ghost glaive, right? I very briefly saw a tutorial from, I think it was Juan Hidalgo, who did like a transition on that, and I was like, what are the paints that he used? Okay, I'm gonna figure it out myself.
Yeah.
And so it's this blend of, it was very interesting, but it's like, all different facets of pink, as I am wont to do. right?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was fun. It was a nice challenge. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but in the end, it came out as its own thing that I can appreciate. So it's got, like the super bright colors into the darker pinks and just fading in and out.
I like it.
And I learned a lot from that. So that was really fun. Other than that, of course, aside from New Army New Year, I've been feeling the primordial call. So I've been recollecting my Beasts of Chaos. I had them when the relaunch happened like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Loved playing the army, but then sort of fell out of playing them.
Yeah. It's easy to do because they were so bad.
Yeah. And it was, frankly, I mean, just psychologically speaking, it's so hard to constantly play an army that wins by losing.
Yeah.
Just like, God, all my stuff just keeps dying, like I know I'm winning on points, but they're not punching back at all. And
if that's really not your play style, I mean, it's different from the Nurgle I'm losing all the time, because that is part and parcel of how you come back and how you actually exist and work. Whereas, with Beasts, it was just, if that's not how your mind is wired, it's very tough to play that army that way.
yeah, the major problem, and I think it's now solved with what we'll get into later, is that they didn't have any real hammers,
Yeah.
like they weren't a glass cannon. They were just glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just like, how long can I push models up the board and sometimes roll some dice, I guess.
Yeah.
Before it's too much, just like, I just need to take objectives and take objectives and take objectives, but no way to punch through anything, particularly like, oh, by the way, we're releasing Gargants. Like, well, I guess Beasts are just not doing anything now.
Yeah.
And that's changed significantly.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, and folks, you won't be able to find a Herdstone to save your life, or Dragon Ogres to save your life,
True.
or Endless Spells to save your life, because
Twoo.
a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, and I'm interested to see what happens if folks are going to be able to, sustain playing that kind of an army for a longer period of time. We'll see.
Yeah, when we get into it, we'll talk about how to approach it and
Yeah.
and how it may not be for everyone.
Yeah.
The new shiny might not be as shiny as you if that's not how you like to play. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up creation, take a quick break, and we'll be back with the news at 11.
Make sure you join us tonight for the news at 11.
Well, if you like short, angry, red-headed men and the smell of the seafood section of the grocery store, then GW has a Sunday preview for you. Because
boy.
Who would have thought Ideneth and Fire Slayers getting their battle tomes finally?
Thank God. Yes, we will have stuff to talk about.
No doubt.
Ideneth Deepkin, the 2 versions of the battle tome, the cards and the dice. Like you said, the dice look like repacked Eldar dice, except they changed the symbol. No,
They're just
they
different
look
elves.
really nice.
They're just different elves.
Yeah, they are. They're just different elves. They look really, really nice. In the Fire Slayer department, of course, 2 versions of the battle tome, cards and dice, but also a repack of the Auric Runefather on Magmadroth outside of the Start Collecting box. So you can buy just that. Yay!
Which, I still think it's a better deal to get the
Yeah, it's way better deal.
Start
But,
collecting.
yeah.
But I mean, you probably, if you're going to get into Fire Slayers or you want to sort of make sure you've got all that set up, it probably means that they're going to be changing the Vanguard box. Might not include the Magmadroths, so you may want to pick up some Start Collecting now if you're ever going to do Fire Slayers.
If you're thinking about jumping into short, angry, red-haired men, now's the time to be looking at that stuff because,
It's a very particular kink, so make sure you buy cheap.
Yes, buy it now while they're hot. Get it?
Oh,
See what I did there? All right. Anyway, yeah, this is good. That's going to give us some battle tomes to talk about. Very, very nice. Thank you, GW, for making content for the show. Also coming out.
They do it for us, Bill. They do it for me and you.
I my emails have gone unanswered for requests for content, and I don't know. I've emailed James Workshop several times and not gotten anything. So kidding. If you're a Blood Bowl fan, guess what? Wood Elves are coming with the pitch and a set of team cards and dice.
The pitch is just kind of soothing to look at, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really pretty.
Yeah, the dugouts are kind of interesting, and the pitch itself is it's very green, and it looks like a place I would like to live, except for the people killing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not as brutal looking as a corn dugout or anything.
No.
It's really pretty. So, yeah, if you're a Wood Elf player, then they can renew some of your product line.
Yes, invigorate you and have some fun. A big drop is a collector's edition of Ravenor by Dan Abnett. Looks like a beautiful edition. Definitely going to be getting that one. Oh, just gorgeous.
Yeah, that cover is blowing my mind.
That is so Ravenor. If you don't know the story of Ravenor was a member of Eisenhorn's retinue, but then at the big battle, I can't remember the name of the planet. Oh, God, it just escaped me. But he basically got blowed up. I mean, he got totally dehumanized. He lost limbs, and the only thing that was left really was his brain and the organs you need to function. So they basically put him into a sort of a dreadnought without any of the good, nice toys that Space Marines get in a dreadnought. But it really did free his mind to become an Inquisitor psychic from hell. Mm-hmm. And so as the Eisenhorn story was wrapping up, Dan Abnett started writing Ravenor, and it's every bit as good as the Eisenhorn series. Mm-hmm. Ravenor is amazing and a completely different approach to things than Eisenhorn has. So if you haven't read the Ravenor books, highly recommended. It's Dan Abnett. Read it. It's going to be good. So
just listen to this, though. Featuring a luxurious soft touch cover with gold foil lettering, gold gilt page edges, and a red ribbon bookmark. It also includes a detailed illustrated map of the Segmentum Obscurus.
Nice.
Yeah, if you like your fancy stuff,
yep,
and you like your Ravenors, pick it up.
Hey, that works into collecting.
Hey-o.
They are
lore.
just
lore and collecting.
They are hitting our show right on the head.
Yeah. They knew we were recording today.
Well, like I said, I emailed James Workshop.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then last but not least, Gazgul Thraka in ebook format and in the less expensive hardback version, also not the collector's hardback.
Yeah.
So if you like the Gazgul Thraka story, Prophet of the Wa, that was written by Nate Crowley. Pretty good book, actually. I liked it. It was some interesting insight into the character. So
Yeah, and then Warhammer Plus will have some stuff being launched this week. The episode 2 of the Exodite. If you haven't seen the first episode, watch it. It's not dense with story,
right.
but it is a visual feast.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God.
I was just captivated the entire time, just staring at it, seeing just so well executed.
Yeah.
And in the little preview box here, they've got a freaking Titan.
Yeah.
That's got me wondering what the story is going to be like. So
Exodite titled Episode 2 Inferno. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to Wednesday.
and then we're getting leather textures in the master class.
Very nice.
Very awesome.
nice.
And some additional stuff to the vault, including White Dwarf 470.
And the Archeon End Times book. So if you haven't seen that Archeon End Times book, it is good. Wow, good. And if you don't know how the End Times went down, they did a book, 5 books,
Yep.
setting up the End Times and the blowing up of the old world. And Archeon is pretty much the end of that.
Yeah.
So it's where he wins.
Save it for lore,
Newsflash.
Bill. Save it for lore.
Yeah. Newsflash, Archeon won.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really interesting week. It's going to be an expensive Saturday because I kind of hate it when they release 2 at once. But, I would actually much rather have the content than not. So,
Fair.
yeah, it's going to be a good week. I'm looking forward to it. All right, shall we move on to battle?
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, battling. So, Warcry. We alluded to it earlier. The Tome of Champions came out. Not because of that, actually because of the Bladeborn box set from Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Which is sort of Warcry light. Started playing that and played it with the wife, intrigued. And I'm like, there's a much more expanded version of this. It's called Warcry, and you've played it once before. Oh, I remember that game. So we played a couple of games and totally rekindled I forgot how much I love playing Warcry. It's so much fun. It's so interactive, truly enjoyable to play. But also last week, the Tome of Champions 2021 came out with some very, very important rule changes. The glory point earning completely changed. The table from the core rulebook has been completely replaced by the table from this book.
Very nice.
Sort of more evens out the glory award, but also still emphasizes you want to win. You do want to win. You also want to kill stuff. And it's not a bad thing to emphasize killing stuff in this game because you're battling for Archeon's notice. So yeah, stuff's going to die. But 2 big changes are the reinforcement paragraph from the core book is completely replaced with a new reinforcement paragraph that basically makes it so that when you're doing your, your convergence fights,
Yeah.
you can use reinforcements. So,
Okay.
it just basically what ended up happening was you couldn't use reinforcements, but your opponent could. So it made it very hard to win your convergences.
Yep.
If someone was being a jerk.
Yep.
And we all know that there are jerks. The biggest change, I think, in the entire thing is change the first sentence of all consumable lesser artifacts to have the following sentence. The bearer can use this lesser artifact as a bonus action. So now all lesser artifacts, your potions, all your other little tweaks are now bonus actions. You don't have to waste one of your actions to do it. Open up the game in a huge way if you're playing the narrative stuff.
Thank the Emperor.
Yeah, it's a big, big thing. Also, right up front on page 8 and 9 is a complete revamp of the points. And they have, thankfully, a little asterisk next to everything that got changed points-wise. And when you look at this list, you're like, okay, what didn't change?
Yeah.
It would be, I could list off the things that didn't change. So A lot of points balances out here. Very nice to see. Some things were not pointed super effectively for what they did. Other things were just some of the original 8 warbands were pointed out of the game basically because of the crazy abilities that some of the other things had.
Yeah.
So with their old points, they just did not work well. Also in the book, the Coalition of Death siege battles. So there's a whole section in this book about how to do sieges. And at the
awesome.
Warcry level, we're talking totally cool.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. I've read through it. I'm like, okay, I have the hell for it. We're going to do some Warcry sieges.
Snap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, in the narrative campaign section of the book, they basically have put together 6 new narrative campaigns. All of them look really, really cool, and they are branching campaigns, which is kind of neat.
Oh, yeah.
You can select a path. So very, very cool. All this book is, if you're into Warcry at all, very great book to have. The pitched battles section for 2021 and 2022 has how events are going to be run, how GW events are going to be run. So all the stuff you need, the maps are all in here. So you won't get caught unawares. There's some hidden agendas in there. But then the big deal is in the appendix of the book, they give you the points and cards for Lumineth Realm Lords, Soulblight Grave Lords, Cruel Boys, and these guys. What are these guys again? They're painted all gold. Oh yeah, that's right. Thunderstrike Stormcasts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All the new stuff is.
I thought we were talking about Custodes.
Yeah. Wait, Warcry. Oh, talk about a. But yeah, so all the points and cards are in there, or not cards, but the breakdowns are in there for those new factions. They added a new rune mark to every card in the game. You basically have to go do it yourself, but their 4 grand alliances are represented now. So, and there's also in the narrative campaign sections, there's some campaigns that can only be attempted by order or destruction or what have you. And there's a nice little chart in there that breaks down who's where.
Nice.
So, and then they go through, and in the appendix, they also list every single Warhammer Underworlds warband with their cards and their special abilities. So if you want to mix and match, basically what they've done is said, you can play Warcry with whatever you happen to have.
That's awesome.
So yeah, just super big update, great update for Warcry. Even in this latest issue 473 of White Dwarf, there is a, what's his name? Warcry rules for battles in Thondia. So there's another little narrative campaign in Thondia. So yeah, they're super supporting Warcry, and that's great to see. I love it. I'm back into it, and yay. I bought 2 of those Daughters of Cain boxes, just mostly because I needed the models for my regular Daughters of Cain, but I'm also like, no, I'm going to build a Warcry Daughters, get my feet wet with Daughters.
Yeah, I think that, not to really just like plug too much product, but if you're looking to get anything from those armies that's in those boxes, the Warcry box, buy them now.
Yes.
Like, they will go away, but the amount that you get for them now is insane, right?
Yes.
And like, there's something to be said about, well, do I really need X or Y in my extended army? But it's also playable in Warcry. But like the one that I think is probably the best value, frankly, is the Daughters.
Yeah.
Followed by the Cruel Boys.
Cruel Boys
Right.
is a great box.
Yeah, you get 10 of the not Slittas, what are they? Gut Rippas?
Gut Rippers.
And 3 of the Manskewer Bolt Boys, which are just staples in the army.
You're going to have those no matter what. And this is a cheaper way to get into them. So, yeah, I mean, even the Lumineth box, I think, is a miss if you're building a Lumineth army.
Yes.
If you want to do a Warcry, it's a great, great box. But if you're putting together a Lumineth army, don't be buying multiples of that box, because you're getting the beef hat bros that you don't want. So
Where's the beef? But I would say about that is if they had swapped out the hammers for the Blade Lords.
For the blades.
Yeah, people would be snatching that box
would have
up.
gone.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Yeah, so the boxes are really great values. They're good to have. So yeah, look at them and play more Warcry. It's really good.
You'll enjoy it.
When we get into our section about playing the game, we're going to go into the stepping stones to get someone into AOS, and Warcry is definitely a stepping stone into the bigger game.
Totally is.
Because you can buy a box or two of stuff, build it, and be playing a meaningful game right away before, you paint up the rest of that 1,000 or 500 points. So it's a good introduction. And it's also good to have a few warbands lying around just to introduce people to the idea of the Mortal Realms.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from playing Warcry and that update, which is a great book, definitely pick it up. Said we wasn't gonna do this so much, but played some. We're in a Tuesday night league for Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Holy cow! It's like only the second time we've talked about it.
Yeah, right.
How do we do that, Bill? We're doing pretty okay.
I know. So yeah, I'm gonna save the details for the After Dark show, but we're doing a Tuesday night league over at our local Slice and Dice hobby store. Been playing with Anders and Alma out there. It's just so much fun. We're having a grand old time. Also in battle, I wanted to talk to Dan and Brandon up at Cubic Shenanigans. They did a show where they talked about the ITC format taking over the organized play scene for Games Workshop stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had some pretty, I think, valid concerns going forward. And of course, one of the things they highlighted was ITC in the 40K world is dominated and driven by the competitive aspect and the money aspect, where people tend, when there's that much money on the line, and especially now when they've announced that Best in Faction is going to get, a voucher for all the different GW books, the winners are going to get full armies. It's just more incentive to play in a way that is probably counter to enjoyable games for both opponents. People are going to start making decisions based on, I want to maximize my points rather than make this game fun for you. So I'm here to beat your face in. And that is a valid concern. And I would address their ideas on that by simply saying those people exist, and they have always existed, and they will always exist even when there's nothing on the line. Even when the prize at an event is a getting started box, you have people that are going to play as jerks. And what you end up doing is finding that person filtered out of the game.
Yeah.
Simply by, you can't stop them from entering a tournament and being a jerk at a tournament. But you also, I tend to see at least, that those kind of people don't get invited to the Garage Hammer games. They don't get invited to, hey, we're all going to go up to the cabin at the lake and play blah, 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 blah. So I think that situation, it has always existed, and having the ITC be the main format for both game systems going forward, I don't think it's going to change it.
Yeah.
It will probably bring it more to the forefront, but we've always had drama. Their point of, if you look at, almost every week, every few weeks, there is some sort of video of someone getting caught being a jerk, or maybe even flat out cheating in a 40K event, and they're afraid that that's going to start happening in AOS. I don't see that. Honestly, I think the top players in AOS are, the ones I know at least, are some of the most amazingly good-natured people. Mm-hmm. They don't have to resort to crap like that to win. They will win tournaments anyway. And yes, we might, I don't see the prize pool for the AOS stuff affecting the scene that much. But, I know Brandon put out there that, like, the, oh God, I cannot think of the name of the event that he runs. It's not Broadside Bash. It's the event he runs up there, and he's already said it's not going to be ITC. It flat out will not be ITC. And I totally agree with that, because it's in a format of, he's already got that format developed. He's already worked on it. This isn't the first time he's doing it. and he wants a different sort of competitive aspect at that event.
Yeah.
You look at NashCon with its 2-list format. That really doesn't fit a standard play experience tournament setting. Okay, so it's not ITC. That's not a big deal. Another issue they brought up was only the big event winners are going to matter. I don't think so, because when you look at some of the people that won Best in Faction in ITC, all, during all the time that ITC has been around, some of those people never even went to a large event. So I understand their concerns. I just think that it might be slightly tilted by the fact that they don't know the exact format. One of Dan's thing was he doesn't want them telling him how to run a tournament. If you look at the ITC TO package for how to run an event, they tell you flat out, you run it however you want. ITC exists to provide a standardized scoring format. If you end up like at NashCon with a 2-list free-for-all format, they don't care how you ran the tournament. They just want it so that the winner gets the exact same amount of points for that size of event. So if it's a 100-man event, it should count exactly the same as any other 100-man event. That's what ITC format provides. ITC format does not say you cannot run a 2-list tournament format like NashCon. There's nothing in there that prevents you from running that event format. So it's just a method of standardizing the scoring based on the size of the event so that everyone has a fair shake. And if you remember back in the Wild West days, when we had very free form sort of national formats, you would end up finding local game stores gaming that format by having a tournament every day. And it's so weird because Jack showed up every day and he won the tournament every day. So now he has 69,000 points, which happens to be 68,200 more than the nearest competitor. Oh, Jack wins. Isn't that neat? So yeah, it's simply a format designed to get rid of that sort of gaminess in the tournament scene. I understand their concern that bigger events count for more, but I counter that with lots of littler events count for just as much.
Yeah, points all well taken, certainly. And I think that I'd say it this way. Don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. I understand and appreciate the concerns that they do have. But I don't think it's going to take the reins from any TO, or it's going to strip them of any power in any way that makes it so that way they can't have the game they want to or the tournament they want to and have folks enjoy it the way they intended to, right? It's more about the scoring, keeping things even, as you said. So, yeah, I think I'm with you, Bill.
I think it's a standardized format, and you really have to dig into it and look at how they want things to be done before you say, oh, they're saying I can't do this. They're not. They've never said that, and they never will. So, and the idea that they're going to try to knock out the little tournaments, no. The whole idea is to have more local tournaments and save the Adepticon, the London GT, the CanCon, save the marquee events for the really exciting finales or, setting the stage going forward. So anyway, off that. And I'm not trying to dog the guys from Cubic Shenanigans. I'm just trying to say that I understand your points, but I think you're blowing them a little out of proportion, maybe because you haven't completely read how the ITC works. You've only read the article that was on the GW page. Go look in ITC and find out that you can run any event you want and just offer up those points to your players if you so choose. So anyway, moving on. What'd you do?
So battle-wise, I haven't been able to do much. Been more, building, painting, playing.
Yeah.
Little bit of the playing. Mostly building and painting. I did play 2 games with my Tyranids. I did Crusher Stampede and woo! There's a small escalation league at the store right now. I wish I could have played more. It's only worth 1 point per match for the Ever-Chosen purposes.
Yeah.
But boy howdy. I did not expect them to come screaming across the table and just delete anyone I was facing. So the first game, I think I both played them against Chaos because the only person who was available was James. But the first game, I was like, okay, so I'm not going to take the Hive Guard so that I don't have indirect fire. I'll just, make sure I don't have too many synaptic links, just try and keep it, sort of wrangled in.
Yeah.
That didn't matter. The Tyrannifex just melted faces with its 18-inch flamethrower. The Hive Tyrant with his Venom Cannon blasted the crap out of stuff. The +1 to hit with being in, synaptic range of my Hive Warriors made my Maliceptor, who even sustained a substantial amount of wounds.
Yeah.
He was at like 3 wounds left by the end of the match. And having 6, yes, you heard me, 6 psychic powers I could activate and 5 that I could deny. My opponent just couldn't do anything.
Oh, God. This is a 2,000-point game?
No.
Oh, God.
No, it wasn't. It was
Oh, God.
it was 750.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. It was like, well, I finagled it just right, and just came screaming in. I was like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
This is
Holy
brutal.
crap.
Both games just tore them apart. I did play one other game with Tau. All right, so I played 3 games.
Okay.
The first game I played as Tau was at the 500-point level.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was going up against someone else who was playing Tau, and I was like, so
Yeah.
what are you putting on the board? That way I can put other things that you want to see on the board, right? So he had the Enforcer Commander, he had the Ghost Keel, he had the Ethereal, and he had basic Fire Warriors. He didn't have Breachers. So I was like, okay, I'll take Breachers, I'll take Broadside with Missiles, and then
Who knew?
a Railgun, and then I'll take a Cold Star Commander who actually died super hard at one point. Like, my dice roll was just like unbelievably bad. Like, he had a 4-up invulnerable save, reduced the first damage he took to 0, right? And so, like, all right, cool. It's if I save, the statistical value of what I should save, I'll survive this.
Yeah.
That's 5 1s and 2s. Okay.
Well, that's so much for statistical.
Yeah. Well, it's a dice game, so he's gone now. I ended up winning the game because I knew how to secure the points and all that. And it came down to he had 1 Fire Warrior, his Ethereal, and that was it, actually, because I killed his commander and his Ghost Keel. So it's just one of those games where it whittled down pretty quick.
Yeah.
The NIDs, though, are just so fun. Like, big freaking bugs up the board, smashing face. Maybe that paved the way for why I wanted to do, renew my Beast of Chaos love, which is, thick, big booty Bulgors running up the field, making people feel uncomfortable when they look at how much meat they're packing.
God. Well, so much for our PG rating.
What are you talking about, Bill? I'm talking about bulls.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like humanoid bulls with axes. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. So that was my battle.
Nice. Gonna talk about some more of that stuff in the After Dark. But let's take a quick break and then we'll jump into lore where we talk about Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah, boy.
And we may or may not get to the rest of the stuff because we're going kind of long.
Yeah.
So. All right, so we're going to kick off the lore section today with the Beefcakes of Chaos.
Yeah, it's Thick City, boys.
Wow.
So we're coming in. We're bringing all the beef. So when your Nana asks you where it is,
Where's the beef?
it's coming to the tabletop.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's already been talked about before. We'll go through all of it, but we're actually going to spend a little bit of time on open play and narrative as well.
Yep.
Because, we talk about those things on this show.
Yeah.
So, big things for Beasts of Chaos. They got an update to the Herdstone. They got new monstrous rampages that are only for Beasts of Chaos.
Yes. Oh, my God, they're good.
And those are in addition. Those aren't instead of. Like, you get to do any of these plus any of the ones you could normally do.
Yep.
You got grand strategies, battle tactics. You got twists and ruses for open play. And Path to Glory, they have a special quest, special territories, and special abilities for their veterans. And I'm just going to briefly mention it now. There is a campaign
Yes.
that's in the book that is pretty much Beasts of Chaos versus Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah.
And it's a cool little game. In fact, the battle plan at the very end is very fun, very narrative. It's where the cities are trying to take down the Herdstone to stop the beasts. And it's got interesting layered rules to it. You know, really, really recommend taking a look at that article.
And it's just, I find it almost comical that they would take the cities of Sigmar, which just won LVO, has now access to dragons and Stormcast and Annihilators and some of the toughest stuff in this game. Yeah. And they're like, let's play against Beasts of Chaos. And on the face of it, a month ago, you would look at that campaign and go, oh my God, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
And today you're looking at it going, ooh, hey, this could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before we get into the updates, I want to say this. Bill and I were talking about this beforehand. Beasts of Chaos is one of those armies that I felt was fairly elegant, so to speak, in terms of how it was created.
Yeah.
It's certainly the type of army that requires a lot of thought. If you want to develop, types of lists, control. It's not one of those ones where you look at it and you go like, oh, the obvious build is X, because that's going to shove 4 dragons down someone's throat while I pepper them with crossbowmen, or 120 zombies. That's going to, do this for me.
Yeah.
It's not so obvious with them. And it's because they're a very toolbox heavy army.
Yes.
But, with these monstrous rampages, that's sort of an icing for me. The big thing is the change to the Herdstone, and that was such an elegant change.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It changes the focus of the army, though, and it changes list creation. It changes everything about the army in such a simple and, like you say, elegant way.
Yeah, it's super fun. So let's just dive in.
Yeah.
Let's talk Herdstone. You probably heard it before,
first.
But big thing, turns 1 and 2, battlefield-wide, additional rend for every Beast of Chaos unit on the battlefield.
Beasts of Chaos. So when you ally something else in, it doesn't get that. But, rend 1, and then from turn 3 on, it's rend 2.
Yeah.
Additional. Now you're talking about there are going to be some units crawling around with a minimum of rend 2, mostly rend 3 and rend 4, some at rend 5, who are going to basically look at your heroes and go, yeah, okay, whatever, you die.
Yeah.
They're going to look at your dragons. They're going to look at your giant and go, it's volume of dice now.
Yep.
And I'm going to be throwing more than you.
Yeah. And before, what happened was that the Herdstone had a range. I think what started like 3 or 6 inches. It was very short, right? And it would very slowly expand over the course of the game. That would give a bubble of -1 to your save roll. That's it. Just -1, never got better. And then immunity to battle shock.
Yeah, that was the big part. Battle shock immunity.
Yeah, and it was enemies within, battle shock immunity wholly within, right? So it would force you to essentially position your Herdstone front and center in order to get the benefits off of it, right? This is like just, even on paper, a far better rule to give the entire army -1 rend, turns 1 and 2, -2 rend after that, right? And anything that would have otherwise not been affected by the whole rend situation, such as, like Night Haunt, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing, but not a lot of Night Haunt out there right now. I'm not saying it's not going to change when the Battletome comes out, in a month or 2. But not a lot right now. And even so, like, Night Haunt are still fairly fragile. They don't have, like, insane saves. They can't augment it so it gets better. And so, if you have a Bulgor, swing his axe in a couple times, you're still going to get through 3 damage if they don't do anything and pick up 3 models. But anyway, then the battle shock stuff completely changed.
Oh, the Locus of Savagery is...
Yeah.
This is bonkers good, although... I think because of where you're going to put your Herdstone, it's going to be of limited value, but... Well,
I think one of the things, too, to talk about is this very fluffy change as well. Yeah. Because, if you position your Herdstone sort of in the back corner where you want it to be, because you don't want it to be destroyed now, right, with smashed to rubble, then it would make sense that the more resilient and more brave units would be focused around the Herdstone, trying to stop it from being destroyed. So even in your match play games, you've got fluff for days.
Yeah.
It's certainly not a true min-maxing type of list like you would see with the cities thing, right? It's got a story to it no matter what. And for us narrative players, We love that.
Yeah.
Now the instead of making you immune to battle shock, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Right? Because I thought when I play Skaven, right, and I've got like 60 rats and you can't make them run away.
I know that's just ridiculous.
Battle shock should be part of the game that you actually interact in.
Yes.
It's very fun, I think, that way, and part of why I like Nurgle too.
And now that you have Rally, you mitigate some of the effects of battle shock. Those immunity to battle shock should be a thing of the past.
It should be, and particularly with how this is built. So half models run away, rounded down.
Yes.
Right. So if one model would run away, actually half a model would run away, which means it's round down to 0.
Yep.
So your Bulgor units, like if you keep them in 3s still, you lose a model. If you're still within range of an enemy, assuming you didn't blast it off the board, right? You get +1 to your bravery. It's bravery 6, right? So you have to roll a 6 to fail. Actually, no, I think they start bravery 6. So like you wouldn't fail it if you lose one model, right? But if you lose 2 models, then you could only possibly lose 1 model, so you wouldn't lose any models. And then if you're within the locus of savagery, when you rally, it's on a 4 up instead of a 6 up.
Instead of a 6.
So your higher value units, Dragon Ogres, Bulgors, right? They're going to stick around longer in that range and restore more.
Yes. And the range of the locust goes up every turn. It starts off at 12 inches, and then at the start of the battle round, each one after the first, range goes up by 6. So you're going to have an expanding bubble of battle shock protection or fleeing protection as well as rally bonus. So very, very nice change. Makes the Herdstone at once very, very important, but now it's also much more defendable because you don't have to put it in the center of the board.
Yeah.
I mean, you can place it, you can take your chances and place it up closer to get that bonus, but you are taking the chance of getting it wiped out, which we'll get into in the battle tactics and the stratagem, why you might not want to do that.
Well, it's actually kind of funny thinking about it, because you could actually go up against some lists that might not have more than 1 monster.
Yeah.
And if you can just pin that monster in the back, then it ain't going to matter because they're not going to smash it to rubble, And that's the thing, is it's also sort of a distraction Carnifex in its own way.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's causing so much chaos on the board that people are like, I have to get rid of that thing, And so are they going to try and beeline Sevireth for it? Is anyone taking Sevireth anymore?
Yeah,
right?
I know, really.
Are they going to try and, make it so one of their guys is a monster for a turn, on a spell? Well, you have a lot of anti-magic in this. And so it baits them into having to make decisions. And that's one of the things we'll get into a little bit further once we get through all the rules, is that I feel like this army is an army of no good choices for your opponent. So if built correctly. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But that's the Herdstone rewrite. I think it's amazing. I think it's lovely. It's the reason why you can't find a Herdstone to save your life right now.
It's true.
I've going all over. I found a sparse few number. I personally got a bid out on them. Like, I'm kicking myself because I had a fully painted Herdstone that I traded away 3 years ago.
Damn it.
So hopefully I get it back.
Now,
that one.
Like we did say that there's 5 new rampages for monsters. One of the limitations on that is 4 of them are limited to specific monsters.
Yeah.
So one's for a Gorgon, one's for a Cygor, one's for a Jabberslythe, and one's for the Chimera. So it's not like you get 5 new, depending on what monster mash you bring with you or what you bring in to the game will determine what you have. But having those extra rampages is so nice.
Yeah, the top one is the top one, which is Primal Roar. So you roll a dice. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, you receive 1 primordial call point. And on a 6, you receive 3 primordial call points.
Wow.
And I love this. The summoning in Beasts of Chaos is probably the best now.
Yeah.
The type of things you can summon in, how quickly you can gain points. Like I've heard, people running numbers and in their own experience getting chimeras. That's 10 primordial call points.
Yeah.
By turn 2.
Yeah.
Because of this new rampage. And think about it, it's like, it's not saying you need to be within 3 inches of an enemy in order to do it. It's in the charge phase. I'm just going to roar.
Yeah.
And try and get some primordial call points.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my deployment zone roaring.
Yeah.
And hello.
That's the Dragon Ogre Shoggoth, by the way. That's chilling by the Herdstone, doing all the things it needs to do in order to I mean, you can use it to like cut itself if you don't want to sacrifice Ungor.
Yep.
And then, D3 wounds, D3 permanent call points. It heals every combat phase, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Horrible kit from, ages past. I'd be frank. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people to hear this, especially Soulblight players. So I looked up the base size FAQ. It's on a 90 by 52 now, right? Which is like the Gorgrunta size.
Yep.
And I took my Lauka Vi, took her off her base, and put her on a 90 by 52.
Oh.
Because that bottom half sure is a dragon.
Yeah.
But also in the story of the Vengorian Lords, they are just on the cusp of going completely feral beasts.
Yeah.
Well, now I've got some narrative here. This Vengorian Lord gave in and is now a dragon ogre Shoggoth.
Oh, Jesus.
Emphasis on goth.
Yeah. Goth.
Right. So that your Shoggoth's in the back roaring all day, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Then Gorgon, this one's unique in the sense that you can only use it once per Gorgon per game.
Yes.
And it's pretty spicy. You get an additional rend on all of your attacks.
Yep.
And any models that you kill, you heal wounds equal to their wound characteristic, right? I can definitely see why they didn't say, hey, you can use this once per turn.
God, no.
Could you imagine a Gorgon?
It'd be unkillable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it was just the rend, not even the, consume stuff, right? Even if it was just the rend. Because turn 3, it has like
turn
4
3,
or 5
it'd
rend.
be extra. You had to be at 5 rend.
Yeah, because it's base 2 or base 3 on its big claws?
Base 2, so you'd go up to 4, and then this would give you a 5. So basically eliminating almost all saves out there.
Yeah, like the save stacking would have to be just insane to not have a 5 or 6 to save.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so if you don't have a ward save, that thing is going to destroy you.
Yeah, and if you're talking about a sort of mushy hero like Stormcast heroes, once you get through their armor, it's oh my gosh,
yeah,
you'll be eaten.
Yeah, straight up. They have abilities that do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cygor gets Devour spell. The Cygor and the Jabberslythe I'll get to here, I think, are your big tech pieces.
Yes.
When I say tech pieces you probably don't have them on the board, probably.
Yeah, you summon those.
Exactly.
As needed.
And that's where the toolbox comes in. And the Cygor already has like anti-magic capabilities. He throws rocks specifically at wizards, which is just so funny. But anyway, you throw it at wizards. So you carry out a monstrous rampage. You pick an endless spell within 6 of this model. Roll 2d6. If you exceed the casting value, it's dispelled, and you heal wounds equal to
the 2d6 roll.
The 2d6 roll.
Yeah. So, look at that. Eating magic. It's a beautiful thing. Now, endless spells aren't that big of a deal anymore. Honestly, I wish they'd make them just go away.
Yeah.
I think they're pointless at this point, but they have points.
You want to hear some spicy tech?
Okay.
You know how a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll dispel their own, or at least try to, their own endless spells and resummon them, right? Well, if you've got, it doesn't say an enemy endless spell, right? It says one endless spell.
Yeah.
And so if you've got your Emerald Light Swarm out there and you want to recast it the next turn, eat your own Emerald Light Swarm, heal 2d6.
Heal your stuff. And,
right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's out there. It's techie.
Or if you got the Wildfire Taurus, which makes someone fight last, right? And you're like, crap, it hits you too, right? When you're playing Beast. So you're just like, cool, I'm going to eat my own spell, right? You got to think about how these things play out like that. It's real interesting, and then Jabberslythe, again, tech piece, because it affects heroes only. But boy, oh, it's so good. So only a Jabberslythe can do this. You pick one enemy hero within 3 inches and roll a dice. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, worsen the save characteristic of that hero by 1 to a minimum of 6+ until the end of the following combat phase. On a 6, worsen the save characteristic by 2
to a minimum of 6.
Characteristic. It's not a rending thing. So if you have an ethereal type of effect, yep. So it maxes out at 6, right?
Yeah,
but then you're sitting on 3, 4, 5 rend. Yeah, so it's like you don't get a save. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty much you're guaranteed.
Yep.
I love it. It's such a. Of course, that one doesn't heal you if you eat the hero. So what good is it?
What I like about this, and I know that Coach was not big on the Jabberslythe.
No,
I like this as a tech piece. One, because everyone's going to be like, oh, crap, I have to kill that before it gets to my heroes. 2, it doesn't need to be on the board at the start of the game.
Right.
I'm bringing it in when I need it, where I need it.
And that's the biggest part of this is being able to apply the tools where you need them, when you need them.
Right.
So,
and then if you have to get into combat essentially for it to have the effect that it needs. And then they're like, oh, well, they'll just kill the Jabberslythe. That thing spits mortal wounds when you hit it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's, again, talking distraction, Carnifex type thing, but they're going into this thing and they have to hurt themselves to prevent it from making their hero die.
Right.
Right. So there's decisions to be made there. And again, like I said, it's a army of bad choices.
Yes. But yeah, both of those are bad choices.
Yeah.
Jabberslythe is no fun.
No. And the big boy, one of the heavier hitters in the book, the Chimera, gets Thricefold Savagery and says, until the end of the following combat phase, add one of the attack characteristics of this model's melee weapons, but all attacks made with this model's melee weapons must target the same enemy unit, which doesn't feel like a real restriction.
That does not, yeah. It's, I mean, there are going to be times where you want to split up monster attacks to potentially, take out 2 heroes or the one remaining battle line unit plus a hero. And this prevents you from doing that. But okay, no big deal. You concentrate on one thing and make it die.
So
or hopefully make
one
it die.
big thing to call out is that Hunters of the Heartland, Beasts of Chaos don't care.
Yeah.
Because none of it targets a enemy unit, right? It essentially has an effect on themselves or an endless spell, which of course isn't a unit in Hunters of the Heartland, right?
Right.
So you're like, cool, Hunters of the Heartland, I'm going to still do Thricefold Savagery, get +3 attacks and focus down your unit. Or the Gorgon's like, I'm giving myself the Rend.
Yeah.
And the thing is, aside from, I should say, Thricefold Savagery and Feast on Flesh require no dice rolls.
Yeah.
It happens, right? That's one of the most beautiful things about those abilities. Well, and Thricefold Savagery, you can use turn after turn after turn after turn. So +3 attacks on the Chimera, +1 each to each of the heads, essentially is what it is.
Pretty much.
Oh boy.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
So those are the big changes for everything.
Yeah, across the board.
And I mean, match play, I think, has been talked about a lot. So let's knock that one out first, I think, for open play.
Biggest thing there is the strategies and tactics. So the strategy is protect the Herdstone. When the battle ends, you complete the grand strategy. If there are no enemy units within 9 inches of your Herdstone, and it has not been picked by a successful smash to rubble. So basically, you've protected your Herdstone. Is this better than the book ones? I don't know. This one is really out of your control because if you don't have the bottom of the turn, they're going to basically sneak a unit in within 9 inches just to deny you the point. So,
well, I like it. Again, we're talking about an army of bad choices, right? I feel like if you pick this grand strategy, your opponent's going to be making beelines for it, right?
yeah.
And so you force them into the situation that you want to have as best as you can, right? So if you successfully and effectively screen it off, right? There's nothing they can do other than try and make a mad dash for it. And, with your alternating lanes of gores or ungores that cost you 70 points for 10 models, they're not getting through them. Particularly the ungores, since they're still on 25s, right? You can string them out.
Yep.
Whereas the gores are on 32s, which has always been, I never understood that. But so the ungores, if you do, like I said, alternating ranks of them, I mean, effectively they're going to have to push through all that. And meanwhile, you're going to have your slabs of beef coming up behind them with their, two-handed axes, freaking rend 3, damage 3, turn 1. Woo!
Scary stuff.
So I think it's a very tactical choice.
Yes.
That could make you lose big.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing.
It's a big win or big lose. The battle tactics that are out here, you have in the first one is in the shadow of the Herdstone. Pick one enemy unit within 9 inches of your Herdstone. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed this turn. Completely within your control. So, you're going to be able to pick and choose that one at the appropriate time.
Just imagine how fun it will be, because I think it's going to come up more often than not. It will be to complete that battle tactic, securing your grand strategy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
When you pull that one off, it's going to be like, oh, double Zynga bonus. All right. All right. Next up is,
I just automatically win because of that, right?
yeah, I just pulled it out from that one.
Yeah.
So next up is Fury of the Wild. You can only pick this one on your very first turn. So again, situational depending on who you're going up against. You complete this battle tactic if the model picked to be your general and 2 or more other friendly Beasts of Chaos units are within 3 inches of an enemy unit at the end of this turn. So here's the deal. If you're going up against Iron Jaws, take it.
Well, that's the thing. Someone called this out. I can't remember who called it out. It might have been Russ. The enemy model needs to be alive.
Yes.
You cannot kill it.
Yep.
And so you just need to essentially be like standing there, just, I don't know, hugging each other for a little bit. Play hug hammer with your enemy.
Or if they charge you, if they have the top of the turn and it, like I said, it's Iron Jaws or somebody that's going to come across the board, the ogres, maw tribes, or, monster trucks, they're going to be coming after you turn 1.
Yeah.
So this could be something you really want to look at.
Yeah, it's something to play with. I still think it's funny, though, the way it's written. It has one of those really, when you read it, it's problematic because it has if this, then this, and this. And, if this is happening, so make sure you have your tinfoil hats. You know how to stand on one leg.
That's right.
Hold
your tongue just right.
The Fury of the Wild is very confused.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's first turn only. So, again, very situational. If you're going up against the bow shooters, the Lumineth, you probably don't want to take that because they're probably not coming after you.
No.
Whereas, like Iron Jaws, monster trucks, things that are going to come after you in a big way turn 1. Yeah, you'll probably have that. So next up is Wrath of the Warped Wilds. Pick one objective controlled by your opponent. You complete the battle tactic at the end of the turn. If you control that objective and it is contested by any models in your army that were summoned with the Primordial Call battle trait. Way too many ifs in this one. Way too many things you have to set up. Loser.
I don't know.
I don't want to say loser. I want to say...
Here's the thing that I think actually makes it something to consider probably turn 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Here's why. It says summon with the Primordial Call battle trait, but it doesn't say this turn.
Right.
So you can summon something in and then... Oh, by golly, I finally was... this turn, I'm going to be able to take this objective from my opponent. Pick that.
Yep.
It's done, right?
Yep.
It does take a lot, but you will be summoning a lot.
And when you get it to come off, it's going to be great. I would not plan on this as I'm always going to take this.
No.
That's just my thing.
Well, I mean, it feels like Beasts of Chaos are an army of opportunity.
And that's the whole thing is these play really well into... You're in control of most of these battle tactics. You can determine when they're appropriate and when the core book ones are better. So these add tools to your toolbox, and that's a good thing.
In a toolbox army.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's match play. That's how they've changed. Again, the big change is the Herdstone and how it works. And, the Monstrous Rampages are very, very nice. And they give you a lot of flexibility with units you're already going to take.
Yeah.
Or already going to bring on. So it just gives you more choices and more things to do, which is what we want in the game. So, again, everything I've heard about this, I've never played against Beasts of Chaos or played them. But from what I understand, that's going to change.
Yes.
And these guys are going to be at minimum a gatekeeper, if not competing for event wins wherever they go. So, and again, this is an old school army. So there's a lot of people out there that have old Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah.
And they're able to now just take them out of the boxes, dust them off, and say, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun now.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's great to see.
Yeah, I agree.
So you want to hit open play?
Oh, yeah. And the narrative for the last part.
Yep.
So open play, not often talked about or played, but there's some interesting stuff
Which
here.
is a shame.
It is. So it's a quick pickup game. You got a twist and a ruse. Makes it feel a little more narrative. Some other armies have twists as well. So you roll, for your twist.
Mm-hmm.
The Beast of Chaos one is roll on a 1 to 3 and a 4 to 6, whereas like normally there's no twist on a 1.
Yeah.
that's supplanted by this. And if your opponent rolls for a twist too, both twists can go off. So it's really interesting. So 1 of 3 is a Murder of Crows. Says during this battle, unit champions cannot issue the Inspiring Presence command.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
That one's rough for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Making sure you want to have like your heroes next to units.
Yeah.
But if your opponent, has an inerrant hero that, ditches a unit and you just decide to charge into that and do a lot of damage, then they could lose the unit too. So very fun.
It's going to change, it's going to alter. It's a twist. It's going to change how you play the game.
Oh, yeah. And then Ruinous Rampage. During this battle, players can carry out the same monstrous rampage with different monsters in the same phase. So you can have 4 monsters stomp. You can have 4 monsters roar. You can do any of that.
Primordial Roar, and just literally get 12 points, or however many monsters you brought, get X amount of Primordial Call points and summon literally whatever you want.
Well, that one in open play, because you can do your ridiculous 9 cockatrice list, right? Which is, by the way, only 900 points to have 9 monsters on the field.
Oh my god!
And you're rolling 9 dice, spiking Primordial Call in your phase, in your opponent's phase, in your phase, in your opponent's phase. Yeah,
good lord, avoid that like the plague. Wow.
But then there's a ruse for the Beast of Chaos. Yeah, that's spicy. That's so spicy.
It is. This is the nuclear option.
Yeah. It really is. On a 4 to 6, it's going to get real fun. Beast of Chaos ruse. Once per battle, at the end of your movement phase, you can choose to call the wild. If you do so, you receive 2d6 Primordial Call points. However, after that, you can receive no further Primordial Call points for the rest of the battle. So that's definitely a turn 4, turn 5. I need to win real quick.
Snake Eyes are going to hurt. Boxcars is going to be like, oh, it's so over for you.
I'm going to summon 12 Dragon Ogres.
Oh, God.
Let's play. Right. So that's open play.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Really neat setup for games. And I don't know why we don't talk about open play more, because it's a really neat, good system that if you're just doing a pickup game at a store, do it open play. There's so much fun narrative there. There's so much fun twists and what have you. Just look at it. It's fun.
What a twist.
Yeah, don't just throw 2,000 points down and say, let's kill.
Yeah. All right. Path to Glory. So you got a new quest, new territories, and veteran abilities. Starting with veteran abilities, these are split into the 3 different, not sub-factions, so to speak, but keyword.
Yeah.
That they have. So Brayherd, Warherd, Thunderscorn. Veteran ability for Brayherd units. Leaders of the ambush. The unit can use this veteran ability once per battle. In the combat phase of your first turn, if it was set up in ambush in this battle, add one of the attack characteristic of this unit's melee weapons until the end of that phase. So if you recall that Brayherd, you can deploy them off the board. They come on at the end of the movement phase, turn 1. And so if you get your successful charge in, that's Bestigor with +2 attacks, I think.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, that's spicy.
It's a little spicy considering they have Ren 2.
Yeah, they're going to be Ren 2 off the board, or off the bat.
Lord.
Oof.
Okay. Blood Hungry for Warherd unit. This unit can use its veteran ability once per battle at the end of the combat phase if it destroyed any enemy units in that phase. So, end of combat, you destroy something, you probably took some wounds in result.
Oh, yeah.
You can return D3 models.
Nice. D3 models, not points, models. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's D3 Bulgor.
Yeah.
Coming back, 4 wounds each.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah. It was so nice.
Spicy.
Storm Heralds. Thunderscorn only. Use this veteran ability once per battle at the start of your hero phase if it is more than 3 inches from all enemy units. If this unit makes a normal move as a result of the Creatures of the Storm battle trait, it can make a normal move of 6 inches instead of a number of inches equal to the roll. So you got that, Creatures of the Storm ability, you roll D6, move that many inches. This is just, no, we move 6.
No, it's a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Fun little stuff. Great things for when you earn them with your veterans,
Yeah.
Bestigor coming out of, ambush with
just
20 models smashing in for 40 attacks, I think.
Yeah, with buckets of dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, buckets of dice are good with Ren 2, minimum.
Yeah. Woo. All right. The Quest. This quest is super good, and the territories will reveal why.
Yeah.
So at the end of each Path to Glory battle, add 1 quest point to the progress section of your quest log if you earned a major victory or minor victory. In addition, while this quest is on your Path to Glory roster, at the start of each Path to Glory battle against another Path to Glory army, you receive a number of primordial call points equal to the number of quest points in your quest log.
Jesus. Wow.
I'm starting the game with 5
Yeah.
primordial call points, and I haven't even done anything. I just showed up.
I'm here. Look at me.
Holy cow, man. With the roar, like you could seriously be summoning a Chimera turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a couple of
Oh.
roars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Once you have gained 5 points, you complete this quest. When you complete this quest, you gain 10 glory points. Done.
Huh. That's enough to take a. Okay.
Yeah. In addition, I love in additions. When making the first exploration roll in the aftermath sequence of the battle in which you completed this quest, do not roll a d66. Instead, roll a d6 and add 60 to the roll.
So you're getting one of the good ones.
Yeah, you're getting one of the 3 that we've got here. Now, I don't understand the first one, admittedly. Someone can help me with that. So 61 to 62 gets you the Tainted Deep Woods. So when fighting a Path to Glory battle against another Path to Glory army, at the end of the battle shock phase, you can pick one friendly Brayherd unit that is set up in ambush.
Yep.
You can return D6 slain models to that unit.
How could, if they're still in ambush, can you pull them off the board and put them into ambush?
See, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It has to be because
Yeah.
otherwise this makes no sense.
Yeah. So if you can pull them off, like you attack,
Yeah.
kill whatever it is, but you lost something, then you pull them off the board, return D6 units. Cool.
Nice. Very nice.
Upgrade 10 GP. Look at that. You get
2
10.
units.
You get 10 from completing it. You get 10 to upgrade. Well,
Oh my
look at that.
God.
Yeah.
This is so appropriate.
There you go.
All right.
So, Wild Mountains. Increase the monster limit on your order of battle by 2. In addition, in step 7 of each aftermath sequence, roll a dice. On a 1 to 5, nothing happens. On a 6, a monster is beckoned to join your beast herd. If so, you can add 1 Beast of Chaos monster to your order of battle without spending any glory to do so.
Paching. Okay. Wow. And then the upgrade
Increase the limit by 4.
instead of 2.
Yeah.
Oh, who knew? So, yeah, I'm just in your face with, oh, God.
And,
I hate these. And I said at the beginning, all of a sudden I'm afraid of goats. This is why.
65 to 66, Warp Nexus. You can never have more than 1 entry of this type. This territory has no effect until it's upgraded. 30 GP to upgrade.
Yeah.
When fighting a Path to Glory battle against another Path to Glory army, the range of your Herdstone's Locus of Savagery ability is 18 inches at the start of the battle.
And then goes up by 6.
24.
Yeah, that's the one where you you have the number of models that run away and you get to bring them back.
On a 4+.
That's super. Oh, wow. Yeah, these guys got terrifying in the narrative.
Yeah.
They really, first of all, they got real good in match play. They are going to be a thing you're going to see at tournaments, period.
Yeah.
You can just tell by the fact that the Herdstone is out of stock. Some of the signature models are out of stock.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you add this narrative stuff to it, they are a very viable option in Path to Glory, simply because of just some great bonuses that they get. Like, I mean, I grant you, everybody has a really nice narrative path.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen one that wasn't good, but this just adds to the flavor of the army. And again, I think we alluded to it at the beginning. Everything they did fits the fluff of the Beasts of Chaos.
Yes.
It works with the way the army you envision in your head how it should work.
Mm-hmm.
These guys go to that now, and it looks like they're going to be just flat out fun to play.
Oh, 100%. I am so excited for it. And particularly like the narrative coming up. So I need to get at least 3 more Bulgor to start. Because you'll have the 500 points and 100, or then 1,000, then 1,500. I did a custom Doom Bull
Oh, nice.
that I made. The resin model looks pretty good. I'll say that. I just hate dealing with Finecast.
Yeah.
So I took the Ogroid Myrmidon from Warcry, cut off the spear tip, and replaced it with a Bulgor axe. And
Fair enough, yeah.
That's all I did to change it. It's still chaos ridden. It's got the horns. It doesn't quite have the bull face, but we're dealing with chaos.
Yeah,
So,
you can have anything.
yeah.
So, yeah, very nice. That's a neat idea.
It's super fun, man. I am looking forward to playing with these goats and everything again. And here's a probably unpopular move that I'm going to do is that I have all those Skaven that can also double as Ungor, and they're beast men. So I'm trying to stretch
I hear you.
models, trying to get my most
You
out of my
know?
models, Bill.
Exactly. I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to say, oh my God. All right, let's call an audible here real quick because we did go longer than I thought we were going to go.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew this was going to happen. And at the top, we said we were going to cover lore and collecting. I'm going to leave out lore mostly because with any luck, we're going to try to get Doug from 2 Plus Tough on to help us talk about lore in AOS. So we're going to put that one into the offing, and we're just going to talk a little bit about collecting.
Heyo.
Just some notes and thoughts, and start out with overall collecting. If you are just getting into AOS, collecting isn't really that big of a deal because there's not a lot in AOS proper that isn't available or has gone out of print or is super old. I mean, the game is only 5-6 years old.
Yep.
So it's not like, oh, I want that thing from 20 years ago. Now, if you're playing Cities of Sigmar, yeah, chances are you might want to find some units for your cities that maybe aren't the most common around. But I mean, you can still get Flamespire Phoenixes. You can get the Celestial Huracan. I mean, you can get the signature models. It's a little more difficult to find some of the strange troop choices.
Mm-hmm.
But, and what we don't want to do is talk about just, hey, go on eBay. That's where you find everything.
Yeah.
So when it comes to collecting, we're gonna hit more on the esoterica and just some ideas of where to look for stuff that you might not have considered all along the way. And of course, the typical caveat of be careful on eBay.
Yes.
Not only do you see on eBay, and this always makes me laugh, but I will see stuff that's put on eBay for $250 and they say new in box, out of print. And you look at it and it's something that's sitting there on the GW web store.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? But I mean, there are people out there that are preying on people that are new to the hobby and don't know where to get all this stuff. And they've heard, again, Herdstone. There's people out there right now who are charging top dollar for Herdstones because all of a sudden they're damn good and people want them. GW's probably going to have them back in stock in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So if you're looking at paying $250 for that model, maybe proxy it, maybe make your own out of XPS foam. And then, when the real one comes, buy that. So
Yeah, that one for sure has a weird base size. So I understand why some folks are like, I'm not too sure what to do. But the Cygor, the Gorgon Cygor kit, there's a big rock in there.
Yeah.
That you could sort of use to proxy. It's not quite the same size, but if at this point you're not going to a tournament next week.
Yeah, the Bone Splitter, what's his name? The Rock. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Don't worry about me.
Oh, the big guy. Yeah. Like just try and get the approximate size. Make sure your opponents are cool with it if you're just playing test games, and most people are going to be, as long as it's not like, oh yeah, it's the size of this white dwarf, and it's truly not that big. Like it's tall, but it's not very wide.
Yeah.
So,
and the biggest thing there is make sure you have the right base size.
Yeah.
Because that's where everything's measured from for its effect. And don't cheat on that. Don't put it on a 200 millimeter base.
It doesn't even have its own base. It has like a weird rocky outline base.
Yeah.
So I would say safely like 60 mil,
something like
maybe
that.
80 mil is probably the approximate size of it, right? I'm sure there's someone who's got that stuff online, but check it out. But be careful when you're buying, right?
Yes.
Because one of the things that you'll see pictures on eBay of what they say they're selling, most of the time the pictures don't show everything. And so you could get a model that you still need to put some work on and clean it. Or maybe they use garbage glue, right?
Yep.
Or maybe it's glued to the wrong size base. So you actually need to go out and get the bases for it, right? So,
or you could always get that deal like you always read about, here's a Herdstone for $15. Okay, great. Boom, buy it now. And you get an empty box. And the guy said, it said specifically, this is the box only. And you just didn't read the description all the way. And you're like, crap. I mean, I knew somebody that bought a PS5 for $200 and got the box that the PS5 came in. And it said specifically in the that this is the box only. There is no part of the PS5 in the box. It's just the box.
That's so screwed up.
It is, yeah. But people will take advantage of you on eBay. Be very careful. Again, hit your local Twitters, hit your local stores first.
Yeah.
Find people that you can trust, that you can meet face to face, or at least through an intermediary. You know, I know a guy that knows a guy. So look at that kind of stuff first.
See a guy about some bulls.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
But then you also have things like, as you listed here, estate sales, but yard sales, garage sales, right? There's, I don't know how many times me and people I know have bought very expensive Magic cards because for nothing, because we went to the estate and it's like grandma's like, oh, my grandson went away to college and he said, do whatever we want with these cards. So I'm selling them. And you're like, I'll give you $5 for the lot. Let's, and then you crack it open. You're like, well, that's a $50 card or something like that, There's
a Mox Jet in there. I paid for college. Yay. It's, you'll find, and I mean, we always see the crazy success story. Oh my gosh, look, we found a 5 million year old Ming Dynasty vase at a Goodwill. Yeah, I mean, more often than not, that doesn't happen. But, I list estate sales because I have gone personally to estate sales just because you hear something or somebody says something that this person was into this sort of stuff. And you go out there and you just clean up on, hobby things that you're looking for. I went to an estate sale for some war games and came back with probably, I don't know, for under $100, I came back with thousands of dollars worth of games. Now, a lot of them I already had, but I was able to sell those, again, on eBay or what have you. But, again, the family doesn't want to deal with these things. So you can find a deal. And if you happen to find the guy that gets out of, or that, has moved along and had a lot of AOS or 40K stuff, you could get lots of stuff. One other thing, I always talk about, you're on a road trip and you're going through tiny little town. And as you're driving through tiny little town, you see tiny little town game store. Slam on the brakes and go in there. It's these out of the way game stores that have stuff that they ordered or they got in when it was brand new 15 years ago. And it has sat there collecting dust in that store because no one in that area does that particular thing. You can find some pretty amazing things at these out of the way hobby stores. And it could just be something that you're into that nobody else is. I've gone to some reasonably well established game stores and picked up stuff for games that I'm into, but not the general hobby is. Firestorm Armada, I picked up a whole crap load of stuff like that at just a weird game store in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Oh.
So you never know what you're going to find. Stop at all these weird hobby stores. Flea markets, organized flea markets are, just walk through it. You never know what you're going to find. And a lot of times there's gold mines, and it might not even be game related, but you're going to find stuff and it's going to be cool.
Yeah. We have a big one here in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
That happens every single weekend at the fairgrounds. It's massive, right? It takes up, most of it's a parking lot outside the fairgrounds, but it takes up most of that area. I mean, I remember going there as a kid. It's just massive. And you're walking through, and flea markets are fun anyway, right? In terms of the weird crap you can find there, right?
Yep.
Some rare stuff you can find too. So you just go through and you have fun, and you sometimes will find, a gold mine sitting there and someone doesn't know what it's worth,
Yeah. Or they don't care. They're out of it. I'm done with that game.
Yeah.
I don't play it anymore. Buy all my stuff.
Yep.
Okay. And by the same token, for flea markets, when your local stores are doing their organized flea market days, definitely go out there. You never know. For every gamer that's in the club or that goes to the store and plays on a regular basis, there's probably 10 more who just play Garage Hammer with a friend.
Yep.
And when they decide to move on from an army, all of a sudden it shows up at, the Etten Games hobby or the Active Imagination hobby days or flea market days. And you can clean up on those deals. Now, The problem there is most of those people know the value.
Yeah.
So the prices are generally right, but you never know what you're going to find. And you may end up finding somebody, we'll get to this in the socializing, but you might find somebody that plays the game that you play. You just never know they existed. And boom, all of a sudden you have a nice new friend. So
Yeah, one thing to think about, now that you bring up the flea market at game stores too, is even trading some things.
yeah,
Because you have like collecting in the sense that like I'm collecting this to keep it, right? Sort of the hoarding aspect.
yeah, that would be me.
Who like, I just want to have the thing and I'm going to keep the thing, right? And not trading it to anyone else or anything like that. And that would be, for collectors items, which there are a ton
Yeah.
of in this hobby. Obviously, we even talked about Ravenor earlier in the show. So, but if you have something where you like initially thought, I want to collect this item, army, whatever it is, and you realize, nah, I don't want this anymore. But then you can go out on boards and things like that and find someone who's interested in obtaining that item, and you can find out if they have items that you can do in exchange.
Yep.
So it also, again, feeds in the socializing.
Yeah.
And that's how you're able to see if you can swap things out. So collecting's a really fun part because it's actually an activity. It's not just I pay money, I get product.
Right.
Right. It's seeking the product. It's sort of an adventure, if you will. Like, why else do you go to flea markets, right?
Yeah.
It's because you're on the hunt for whatever happens to show up. You don't go there for something specific.
Yep.
So you go there and you just have fun and enjoy it and just really embrace that side of it. And it feeds into everything else, like lore wise, not talking too much about lore today, but you learned something because you read the new White Dwarf article about Beasts of Chaos.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I just love the concept.
Yeah.
I don't even care if they're going to be competitive anymore. Right. I just want weird goat and bullmen, on the tabletop, running around, butt out, just throwing beef everywhere, and you may want to do that. Or you find out that you really have a thing for short, red-haired, angry men. And then you're buying Halloween colored dice and you're like, oh, I should split Fury of the Deep with my friend who's really into very wet, skinny guys. Like it's
Tall, skinny, wet guys.
Yeah.
Ew. Oh, yeah.
dead in the eyes. But so use that. You think of that too. It's not just go store, pay for product, leave.
Yeah.
Collecting is an activity.
It can be an activity in itself. And one thing I will tell you is, and this is hard if you have that FOMO thing or if you have that completionist thing, if you are actively just trying to collect, say, the 40K, the 30K, esoterica, the pins, the badges, the weird collector's dice sets, the collector's editions of the books and all that stuff, don't try to get them when they're hot. If you're trying to start a brand new Beasts of Chaos army or a Fire Slayers army, understand that right now at this point, those are going to be hot commodities. The price is going to go up simply because everybody wants them. It might make sense to wait 6 months. Now, if you want to get into Fire Slayers, if you want to get into Idoneth, they're on the web store. You can look at the prices. You can order them from your friendly local, your Frontline Gaming, your Michigan Toy, whoever you go through at 20, 25% off, you're going to be able to get into those armies. If you're trying to get something in the weird esoterica category, don't do it while it's hot. It's always a bad decision. Like, when a new book comes out in the Siege of Terra series is not the time to go on eBay and look to complete. Let's say you missed book 2. That's not a good time to try looking for book 2 because the prices just went up because a new book came out. So flat across the board, they know they can get more money for it. Wait a few months and then try to find it. Kind of think about how you're organizing your collection strategy, and don't try to get things while they're hot because that never works well. I know I was looking for that backpack, the gray, the brown canvas backpack for the Vostroyans or the Cadians. I had one way back when, and I ended up losing it somehow, and I really wanted to get another one.
Yeah.
And I looked for that thing for ages. And when it finally did pop up on eBay and the guy wanted like $350, I was like, yeah, I want it. I don't want it that bad.
Yeah.
And you just wait it out. And sure enough, not too long, it came back on for, I think, 115. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit more realistic. I can do that.
It was also a quality bag.
Oh, that bag is awesome.
And so you'll pay money for a good bag, period.
Hell
It doesn't
yeah.
matter if it's niche hobbyist related, right? Like a really nice canvas bag goes for lots of money.
Deep well bag that you can put tons of stuff into.
Yep.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
All day. I love a nice bag and coats. Anyway.
So, yeah, that's just some thoughts about the collecting aspect of the hobby. Not going to go into, how you get individual pins and badges and what have you. And those things are cyclical. GW knows that everybody loves purity seals. That's why they just came out. And now they're gone again. Yeah. And if you wait a year or two, they will come back. So I would not go on eBay and pay some of the prices I've seen for those purity seals. Number one, because you'll probably be able to pick them up at any organized event coming up soon. But also, the prices are just ridiculous for something that went over the sale for $10. And they want $99 plus shipping. And I'm like, yeah, no, not paying 1,000% increase.
Yeah.
I got plenty. So,
Yeah, and price increases. Well, we'll talk a little bit about that after dark.
after dark, we're going to talk a little bit about the GW price increase.
I think I have some more comments too for Beast of Chaos. I want to save to that. Much more innuendo and plenty of things for us to chat about in After Dark, which is where it's reserved for. So
I'm shocked, I say. Again, congrats to our winners. I'll be getting with you guys after the show is recorded and out, and we'll get you some books.
yeah, guys. So thanks again for being listeners, for our Patreons. Of course, we'll see you after dark. And tell us about your thoughts on collecting on Discord. Let us know what your approach is, or if you have any tips or tricks for new hobbyists, or even if you have something that's like a little not well known, in your area.
Yeah.
And maybe other hobbyists in your area could take advantage of that. So, yeah. Thanks again, folks.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at rolling_bad. Our individual Twitters are, for me, at Bill Castello, BILLCASTELLO. And for Josh, you can reach him at Anoyo, ANOYOE. All the guests on the show will have their contact information in that show's show notes. The music in the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and is used under the Creative Commons license. The Rolling Bad podcast itself is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Information for this license can be found at creativecommons.org.